You can become bitter or you can become better. Hello, I'm Dr. Keshia Keith, and I am here to help you move forward. Today we're going to talk about bitterness and what some of the things are that bitterness can create and can cause in our lives. Because a lot of times we can become bitter and not necessarily realize that that's where we are. We can be in a space where we don't realize that we are behaving a certain way. We are giving off a particular certain amount of energy. We are coming into a room and pretty much we will dampen that laughter or that joy in that room because we are caught up in what that bitterness has created for us. So, are you bitter or will you be better? You get to make a choice. And in that choice, it is, what will I do differently if I want to be different? Do you really want to be different though? Because sometimes we don't want to be different. Sometimes we want to keep on doing what we are doing because we want to give that whole same energy thing. We want to match energy. We want to be just as mean and conniving and bitter and angry and kind of icky with everybody that we come into contact with, especially those who have harmed us or who we view as being someone who has harmed us. Not realizing that that is something that is continually growing, continually festering, and allowing that in your life every day, all the time without stop. It prevents you from being able to create space where you really do feel a sense of peace, you feel a sense of hope, you feel a sense of contentment in where you are and what you're doing. Now, maybe, just maybe, you are one of the people who is like, well, I'm content with being bitter because I'm tired of people stepping on me or doing all these things that they've done to me. Maybe somebody has treated you wrong for years. Somebody has overlooked you. You have maybe been overlooked on your job. You have maybe been overlooked at maybe church, maybe some volunteer place that you're working at. Maybe you have been overlooked. Maybe you feel like, well, I have these particular gifts or these particular things that I can produce and provide for this facility or for work or for wherever you are. But you feel like you are not getting those chances because you feel like those chances are going to somebody else. You feel like it is always somebody else doing those things or receiving those accolades or getting acknowledged for the things that they do. And that might not necessarily be false. That could absolutely be true. But you have allowed those events and those situations and circumstances to continue to be something that you allow to fester, that you allow to grow within you, because when you are allowing those things to fester and to grow, it is just constantly creating a story and a narrative in your mind that says, everybody's out to get me. Nobody wants to see me do better. No one wants to see me thrive. No one wants to see me in a good place, living my best life. Every time I turn around, it's Becky or it's Jill or it's Susie or it's Bob or it's Bill or whoever. They are always getting accolades about what they're doing, and people are not noticing over here. I'm trying to keep my head down and do the things I need to do, but I don't feel like I am being acknowledged, respected, or put in the positions where I feel like I am best utilized. And in those situations, sometimes you may have gone to a person and you have said to them, hey, what about this idea? Or hey, what about that idea? Or I can help with this, or I'm pretty good at that. Or maybe let's see if we can collaborate or do certain things because, you know, that'll be beneficial. That'll help somebody else in the long run. And maybe you are not getting those connections. Maybe you are not getting those people who are looking at it and saying, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then when you don't get the responses that you want, you can feel like you would have been let down. You have been overlooked. Nobody has seen your capabilities and your skills. However, what is it that you are able to do with that? Just because you got a no over here does not mean you'll get a no over there. Or you may have gotten 8 no's, but wait a minute, what about the 9th time when you are able to get that yes, when somebody says, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Or, hey, I noticed this. Can you do this for me? Can you make this for me? You never know exactly where you can contribute. You never know who might be watching you. But because you have allowed all those 8 chances of when you got that no to fester and brew, and you keep on telling the story and you keep on reliving it, it is continuing to become the narrative. Because remember, whatever we are feeding is growing. And because we are feeding that anger, that frustration, that hostility, that sometimes, in all honesty, that jealousy that we are experiencing or seeing, as a result is projecting out, because we are tired of seeing Susie get the promotion, or Susie get to do this, or John get to do this. We are so sick and tired of that. And because we're sick and tired of that, we are allowing that to fester. So yes, we might go to our friends and have conversations with them and tell them over and over again about how we have been wronged. Or maybe friends on the same job. You're sitting there talking about things that are happening at work, and all of a sudden it becomes a venting session and everybody is venting about one thing or the other. But where is the solution in it? Where is the resolution? When are you all going to stop having the venting session and start to find the solutions? How do you find solutions in this? Because the more that you continue to have conversations about it, the more that you continue to think about it, the more that you continue to view things from that perspective, everything else is going to look like garbage to you. Everything else is going to be frustrating. You're going to miss out on opportunities that can come your way because you are so focused on what you're not getting that you can't see in some ways what you are getting. So it's like, what is that? What is it that I need? And so here is, from my perspective, 3 tips that you can use when you are dealing with bitterness. First of all, it's identifying what bitterness is for you, how it's showing up in you. Are you always finding that you are frustrated? Are you finding out that you are waking up in the morning and before you can even let your feet hit the ground, you are pretty much cussing out and cursing the day? You are frustrated that, gotta go to this job. I gotta do this. All of the things that you gotta do. You gotta do. You are finding yourself more in a complaining posture than in a, I am happy about this day. And absolutely, I'm not saying get up out of the bed and just be raring to go, stretching and singing your favorite song, unless that's what you do. Absolutely do that if that is where you are, if that's what you're trying to do, if that's your work. But if you are, before your feet hit the floor, you are going, this is just, I just want to lay back down and go to bed, and maybe I'll try it tomorrow, maybe I won't, but it's just And with those feelings, they continue day after day after day, and you find yourself going weeks and feeling that way. You find yourself looking at other people, and whether you're physically rolling your eyes or in your mind rolling your eyes, you are rolling your eyes because you are jealous of what's happening for them, and you are tired of hearing about them, and you want it to be you. You are in a space where you can't allow your brain to shut down because of the fact that all of that bitterness and frustration is just moving like a whirlwind, moving like a whirlwind, moving like a whirlwind. You cannot get that feeling of, let me get this out of my mind. Let me just calm my mind. Let me do what I need to do in this moment. Because right now you are feeling like you're just overwhelmed. So it's identifying what it is and how it shows up. Asking yourself also, why is it? Why is it that you are feeling the way that you are feeling? Why am I in a space where I feel so frustrated like this? Where did this thing shift for me? Where did it turn to where all I do is think about this, or all I do is focus on how I'm missing out or losing out on something, or how somebody is always getting something over me? If that is always it, when did that shift for you? When did you find yourself starting to have those conversations all the time? And when did you find yourself starting to go into work and just feeling anger, like just rise up in you, just as soon as you get into the parking lot? That mood, whether you've been singing your favorite song going down the highway, but as soon as you turn right or turn left into that parking lot, your whole mood changes. When did that happen? Identify that, because I think that becomes a good starting point of you being able to start to unravel some things and see exactly what's happening, peel back some layers to understand why. Why is this happening? In that space, take time to write that stuff down, because I think that's going to be a key component for you to allow yourself to just kind of brainstorm it. Because the more that you can brainstorm it, the better that I think that things will go, the better I think that things will work out. And in that, I'm going to put a shameless plug out there. Have a virtual women's group where you can come and you can join us and you can be in a safe space where you get that nurturing, where you get that ability to talk about it. But once we talk about it, we're going to be about it. And when I say be about it, we're going to be in a space of being able to find the solution for you. What is your solution? What is your work? Where do you need to go from here? Because this is what is going to make all the difference for you, because you need to be able to find a resolution and a solution to this bitterness and this frustration, because this can't be life. This can't be life. It can't be the best life that you're living right now if you are in a frustrated space and you are just feeling that bitterness just continue to grow and continue to fester. So absolutely ask yourself why. And then write it down, assess where you are, look at where this thing got started. Look at really what is that root cause of it, because it's probably very likely that job is not where it really started. That maybe it started several years before that, when you felt like you were looked over in something that maybe you were in school, maybe you were in college, maybe you were on your first job, maybe you were somewhere and you had worked so hard and you had studied and tried to do your best and be your best and do all the things that you needed to do. And then you look up and realize that you've been doing all of this, you've been the worker bee, you've been making it happen, but it's not been happening for you. You've been unable to get those promotions or those moves that you would like to make, or in places where you would like to be. So allow yourself to really delve into that, really identify that. If you are feeling like you are frustrated and you are bitter towards an actual individual, knowing that is a space for you to decide, do I need to have conversation with this person? So then maybe number 3 for you is to communicate with the person that is the source of this, or you feel like is that source. Because that communication, that ability for you to just say, because you've been telling your friends, and I mean, that's not a bad thing, but after a while, that just becomes your never-ending story. And if you want to tell a different story, you want to have a different outcome, it is sometimes important to go to the source. And in that going to the source, you have a conversation and you let them know what you've observed and what you've been feeling. This is all from your perspective. This is not anything about you telling them what they did and but you saying, I felt this way, or I experienced you in this way, because this gives you the ability to have a voice. Now, granted, I would say take a little while before you go and have that conversation. Be willing to take a step back, like I always say, and allow yourself to pray about it. Allow yourself to write out like you're writing a letter to that person, so that you get clear on what it is that you need to say in that conversation. Now, granted, you may not be able to get a resolution. That person might not even know what you're talking about, or they might not understand, what it is that you feel frustrated about. Understanding that their ability to accept it, ability to receive it, that is not on you. It is on you that you were able to start the conversation, that you were able to let them know where you're at. Once you're not in a space with them and you decide, okay, because they're not receiving this is how I move going forward. And then create a game plan. That game plan is not to match their energy, is not to give them what you perceive that they're giving you, but it is for you to understand where your peace lies and identify that, so you can get to where you need to be. Because once you can identify what the bitterness is, how it's showing up in you, and you can write it out, you can ask yourself why. Then you will be able to, in some ways, create a system and a plan and a process that works out for you, hopefully. For some people, this might not work, but for others, it might be beneficial. But try it. And if you try it, let me know, because I'd like to hear how this all worked out. Or if you've been in situations like this and you have been able to identify what's going on with you, and you have been able to identify the why and write it down and be able to have those conversations. Or maybe you chose not to have that conversation. Let me know that too. How'd that turn out? What did you decide, so that you can stop giving other people the power of creating your mood and having you feel like every day, because that is not the life to live. It is important for us to live on purpose. And if you're going through challenges and you feel really frustrated, like I said, absolutely, you can join our virtual group, ladies. But if you feel like, oh, well, maybe I need somebody to journey with me on an individual level, absolutely do that, because that is so key, that you find a counselor, somebody who is trained to be able to walk with you through this, because this is a journey. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So whatever tools and resources that you need, be sure that you get those, and let me know how it goes, because I want to hear how you are moving forward, because in this life, we cannot do it alone. We need the company of those who are going to travel and journey with us. And it is my hope that you will have an amazing outcome. And if it's not, it is my hope that you will resolve within yourself that you still are going to be better and not bitter. Because being bitter has gotten you virtually, what has it gotten you? Okay. Probably nothing. Probably more anger, probably more frustration. But in this area right now, make a decision. Make an intentional decision to do better, to be better, to shift, because that is key. And leave me a message in the comments to let me know where you are, to let me know how things are going. Have you been able to switch from being bitter to better? And how's that been working for you? And if by chance in this too, if you are like, okay, yep, I've been there, done that, but I know some other people who probably need to hear this, hey, let them hear it, because I think that is so important that this is passed along so that they can benefit, so that they will be better and not bitter. Because that's the game plan. The game plan is to be better so that we can keep journeying, so that we can keep moving, we can keep moving forward. And you all have a great day. Talk with you next time.